Afternoon guys, Miss H here. So today I'm going to show you a tutorial that was requested by one of my 4th grade students, and that was how to make a watercolor sunset. So we're going to show you how to make this really cool sunset silhouette painting today, and it requires 2 steps. One is using watercolors. These are pan watercolors. Liquid watercolors would also work. Watercolors are pretty much the only thing you can use for this because you really need something that's going to blend when you paint it on. And then the next thing I'm going to show you how to use are pastels. The pastels you can change out. You could use oil pastels. What we're going to use today are chalk pastels. You could use just regular black chalk. You could use a black colored pencil, black crayon. You could even do black paint if you wanted to. I like the chalk pastel because not only are they fun, but they go really quickly. So your choice, whatever supply you have with that one is pretty interchangeable, okay? So I'm gonna go through the steps, but all you're gonna need right now is, this is just plain computer paper. You're gonna need a piece of white paper. You're gonna need a brush and some water and your watercolors, and then you'll need your soft pastels or whatever you're gonna use for your black afterwards. Also be thinking about what you want for your sunset silhouette. What sort of background you want, what sort of landscape. Mine is a beachy one because I would love to be at the beach right now, okay? But you can think about like any sort of landscape, any sort of outside thing, and that can be your black part of your silhouette. So be thinking about that while you go ahead and get your supplies ready, and I'll meet you back here in just a few seconds. All right, so for this portion of the watercolor sunset tutorial, we are going to paint our background with our watercolors to make it look like a sunset, okay? Now I'm going to go ahead and paint the entire paper, and then after it's all dry, I'm gonna show you what you can do using soft or chalk pastels to make this sort of be like a landscape silhouette in a sunset. It's a really fun project that you can do. Now, the only watercolors I have at my house right now available are these metallic watercolors. Regular watercolors would work just fine. Liquid watercolors would also work, but they need to be watercolor for this to work well. I also have myself a cup of water and a paper towel for blotting my brush in between if I need to. So for the sunset, you can do any sorts of colors that you've seen in a sunset. So you can do oranges, you can do yellows, pinks, purples. Any of those colors would be totally suitable for a sunset. So all I'm doing right now is kind of loading up my brush. I'm getting the watercolors wet. I'm waking them up, as you might say, using the water, because right now, beforehand, they don't work, okay? They're not paint until you wake them up with water. So all I'm gonna do is use sideways, or you can call it horizontal strokes. And I'm gonna switch colors. Whenever I switch colors, I'm gonna make sure that I wipe my brush off pretty good. I like to dab it on the bottom of the bucket and kind of swish it around to make sure that it gets clean. I'm using some yellow. It's like a golden yellow. And when I use this yellow, I'm making sure that I overlap that orange a little bit so that it blends together. And one thing you need to be careful of with watercolors, and this is both the blessing of watercolors and the bad thing about them, is that they can rip through your paper if you brush in one spot for too long. So you have to be really careful, especially if you're using just plain computer paper like I am right now. is step 2 of our sunset silhouette painting. We used watercolors. These are metallic watercolors, but you can use any watercolors to paint the background first. It is dry now. And now I'm going to show you how to use, we're just gonna use the color black. That's all we need. The color black, it's a soft pastel. Sometimes these are called artist pastels. These are super old, but you can call them chalk pastels. You can even just use black chalk if you have black chalk. That would work too. A black colored pencil would work. Black oil pastel would work. Black crayon would work, although you'd have to do a lot of work to get it super black. But I really like using black chalk pastels. But be fair warned, they do make you really messy, but they're really fun to use. So what we're gonna do to start is I'm gonna make the horizon line. So you gotta decide what sort of landscape you want. I'm gonna be at the beach because that's where I'd like to be right now. And so that's gonna be my horizon line. Everything below this is going to be colored in. I'm not gonna do it yet though. And then at my beach, I'm also going to have some palm trees. So I think I wanna do my palm trees up here on this hill. So I'm just gonna draw a few of the trunks of the palm trees. I think we're gonna do maybe even one more. Just to make it extend over here a little bit more. Okay, all of this again is gonna be colored in here in just a few minutes. Okay. And you can add more detail to them if you want, to make them more realistic. So one thing you want to be aware of with chalk pastels or soft pastels is the dust. It's crazy. It does get everywhere, and a really good way to get it off of your paper is to either shake it off or you can blow it off. I would definitely be careful blowing it off though, especially if you're gonna have black chalk dust like I'm going to have. You don't want black chalk dust getting all over the place. It can become a really big mess. Okay, so we'll clean this up here in just a second, but I'm just going in here, coloring in myself some palm leaves. And I am coloring these in Juicy, which all of my South Knoll kids know what that means. We're making sure that all of the color is filled in, that there's no white spaces. This will always make your artwork look a lot nicer if you have it all filled in nice and juicy. It's kind of hard to see where I need to color because of all my dust. Okay, let me show you real quick how to get this dust off before I move on. And I'm gonna be careful where I touch. I'm gonna touch here because I know that I need black there anyway. But what I'm gonna do is just take my paper like that and shake it off so you don't have all that dust on there, okay? You don't wanna wipe. If you wipe, you're gonna end up making a gigantic mess and you're gonna be really mad at yourself. Look at those fingers. Oh my gosh. Okay, so here's what you can do. You can take your finger and rub it in a circular motion. And all that does is it fills in all those little spaces that you just didn't get filled in. Okay, so you can do that to fill it in if you need to. You like it, Kate? Mm-hmm. So these are just filling in these little holes in here. A little bit of finger painting in there. Okay, hang on, I gotta go fix that trunk. So I have a piece of cardboard under here because my stand is not flat and it drives me crazy. Okay, I gotta move that cardboard. It is making my lines be all weird. Okay, let's do a final dusting. I'm making such a mess. Okay, so I need a paper towel. I just used my paper towel. Okay, so if you have little fingerprints like this at the very end, you can take, I should look at my face, I bet I have stuff on my face. You can take an eraser and erase those, but beware, be very careful around the pastel. If you touch the pastel with the eraser, you're gonna end up with crazy mess all over your paper. So if you want to fix this so that it doesn't come off everywhere that you touch, spray it with hairspray, but make sure it's an aerosol can and hold it really far away as you spray it because it could like spit all over your painting and mess it up. So you can use either a fixative if you have it, but a lot of people don't have that at home. So hairspray totally works, okay? So hope you enjoyed. Send me pictures if you make this. I want to see what it looks like and I can't wait to see what your son does.